Ladies and gentlemen, this is Rudy Giuliani, and I am dressed up today as if it's a Friday, okay? And I'm also dressed up as if I'm a make-believe law professor at a make-believe law school, of which there are many with a few exceptions. Those who taught, for instance, the judges of the District Court of the District of Columbia. I would like to get a list of those law professors and have them, at least questioned. You're not allowed, the Chief Justice says you're not allowed to, I don't know if you're not allowed to criticize judges or you're not allowed to ask for their impeachment. John Roberts, don't you think that sounds an awful lot like censorship? Let's think about the countries that had like judicial censorship. I mean, we know about executive dictators who censor, but I don't know, even in those countries, I mean, did the judges do the censorship? We'll have to do some research on that, Ted.
Yeah.
Because they really started it with Trump not being allowed to speak during the election, because that was a neat trick that the crooked Democrats pulled. Roberts, you didn't say much about that, did you? That was a neat trick. They put him on trial for charges that even to somebody as far away as, the 400 miles between Washington and New York, one would see that the indictment didn't contain the allegation of a crime. I don't know, does the Chief Justice note things like that? Like when courts go completely off the rail and become completely illegal and corrupt? Suppose we charged John S. Johnson, really just an ordinary businessman who they found a false record. They found a false record in his business records. Instead of putting down that he paid $500 for an item for his business, he put down $5,000 for that item. Now he contends I don't know. First of all, I didn't put it down at all like Trump did and my accountant did. And maybe there was a miscommunication. But they decided to indict him for the measly, tiny little misdemeanor of having a false entry entered, which is what Trump was indicted for. But they don't really like this guy because they find out later on that he voted, this guy was really bad. He voted against Bragg and he voted for Trump. So they say, well, a guy that fits in that category is entitled to an upgrade. So we're going to upgrade him to entering the false record in pursuance of a felony. So they indict him for that. And his lawyer comes in and says, Your Honor, could you tell me the felony? No. Will you ever tell me the felony? Maybe. Can you really charge, but Judge, can you really charge him with a crime and just say felony? Judge, how many felonies are there in the New York Penal Code? 4,000 or 5,000, I guess. 3,000, 2,000. Could you give me a hint? Like, is it a big felony or a little felony? No. He has a lawyer. Now, even from afar, the Chief Justice would look at that and say, my God, someone just desecrated American law. There'd be a tantamount to somebody blowing up a courthouse. I don't know how long the rule has been in effect. You have to be put on notice of what you're charged with. If they don't tell you the felony the underlying felony you were trying to further by your alleged false statement, you're not even charged with a crime. But that case, Judge Roberts, you sat there and watched that whole damn case go to trial. You watched them never actually, even during the trial, locate a felony. Among other errors of gross proportion. So this wasn't just we'll fix it on appeal. Oh yeah, but the appeal was going to come after the election. What good was that? And wasn't that on purpose? And the other three that were going on at the same time. And you said nothing about the use of the court system, 2 of them federal courts, 2 of them state courts, and you're the biggest, highest judge in the world here, and you didn't say anything about that during the time it happened. And now you're saying that people, particularly the president, shouldn't be complaining about impeachment over a court ruling they should be appealing. Who says that? Is that the Judge Roberts Alien and Sedition Law? It is in the Constitution, Judge. It's in the Constitution really in two ways. It's in Article 2 where it says officers of the United States can be impeached. Don't tell me it doesn't include judges. We've done 15 of them. Well, they're all unconstitutional. 8 of them were thrown off. And Judge, in Article 3, you do know it says good behavior, right? What does that mean? That means good behavior is anything you say it is? Or does good behavior have some kind of external interpretation if it's really bad behavior? Does that add another ground for impeachment? All very interesting legal questions that can be raised in a free country. But you seem to be on the side that doesn't think we're a free country. Now you got this guy Boasberg, I think a creature of Obama, who was pretty harsh on January 6 people, but they all were. I mean, you watched that court turn into a tribunal of even greater scope than the internment of the Japanese during the Second World War, didn't you? You watched constitutional rights being just completely splattered, and killed. You saw a chief judge tell the judges they didn't give enough time to those people who carried out an insurrection without bringing a weapon and who were verbally called insurrectionists. And you saw a president removed from ballots based on insurrection, and they had 1,000 cases and they never charged an insurrection. And they never approved an insurrection. And you didn't say anything about judicial misconduct? Not a thing? The court's sitting right there next to you? But you're worried about a president getting annoyed at a judge's ruling and talking about impeachment when it's in the Constitution of the United States? Charging people with crimes without telling them what the crime is not in the Constitution of the United States. Holding people without bail on minor charges is not in the Constitution of the United States, Judge. Those judges that sit under you there really were a bunch of criminals. They're operating like a bunch of criminals, the way they operate in a fascist or communist or type government. And you just kept your mouth shut. And now you're worried about impeachment of Judge Boasberg. Well, I mean, it gets a little much when this judge who sits on a court that probably has disgraced his country immeasurably, probably the darkest day in American justice was the treatment by the D.C. District Court of the January 6 defendants. But now he's fighting real hard to get all the rapists back. He really is, boy, he is going at it big time to see. I mean, it is only, how many is it, about 200? I mean, you could tell him there are plenty more here. If he's concerned there won't be enough rape in America, there are plenty more here. If he can go find them, protect them, take them home with him. How about the murderers that are been sent back? Does he have any idea what Tren Daragua is? It's a prison gang that has become the fastest growing organized crime group in this country. It kills on sight. And a couple of them are MS-13. They like to chop little girls' heads off. Putting on a big fight for them. Nobody put on a fight for the January 6 people. Whole bunch of them walked in a door that was just wide open. How the hell did they know they weren't supposed to go in? A whole bunch of them are being charged with hitting cops. I don't like hitting cops. But a couple of them look like the cops might have hit them and they didn't hit the cops. And you got a cop you protected in D.C. who sure as hell looks like he committed first-degree murder. And you're covering him up. What are you doing, Judge? And Boasberg, what the hell's with you? Your head screwed on backwards? You're actually trying to get these people back. You're trying to catch the Trump administration. What they misled you as to what? What do they mislead you as to? I mean, I don't know what they did. I wasn't there. I've read what I've read. I can't. I'm not a. I'm a really good lawyer, a hell of a lot better than you are, Judge, without any doubt. I mean, we're not even on the same plane in terms of knowledge of the Constitution and integrity to it, and not misleading people about it. I wonder about the Chief Justice when he kind of sort of suggested like impeachment wasn't available under the Constitution. I don't say that it happens all the time, but 15 are quite a few, Judge, to forget. It is funny that you forgot Article 2 and the good behavior part of Article 3. I'm sure you pay attention to it as a Supreme Court justice, till you're there on good behavior. It doesn't say that about the president, about good behavior, by the way. It doesn't say it about the Congress. It says about you. So they're obviously putting up some kind of standard so that since we were giving you life terms, we could get rid of you if you were a real bunch of skunks, right? But we're dealing here in an area in which the court should give full and absolute discretion to the executive branch of government. Now, these are people who are not citizens. They have no right to be in the United States. Their presence in the United States is a privilege. If they give us doubt as to whether or not they're imperiling the foreign policy of our country, who gets to determine that? You? You think you really get to review that? You really think you, sitting there in your little ivory tower with no foreign policy or foreign intelligence or any view of the world, and obviously extremely warped left-wing, narrow political and legal education, do you really think you should be making that decision for the good of the American people? You see, if you're wrong, these guys come back. With that many of them, they're going to rape somebody. And not only that, it's going to encourage the other ones that are out there to see who they can beat the hell out of, rape, rob, steal, kill, take over. Had you guys intervened in the 2020 election and done what you were supposed to do, Laken Riley be alive today, because that criminal Joe Biden would have been president and opened the gates of America to the guy who killed her. Oh, boy. I don't think any of you guys want to take a trip to Ukraine, because the Ukrainians ever figure out that Biden is the reason they all got killed, even though they kind of like him because, he did business with their country. And for some reason, the Ukrainians tolerate like the second or third most corrupt country in the world. But if Biden hadn't been elected, that war doesn't take place and those million people are alive. That's a lot of people, Judge, to stay out of an election because it might be a little dirty. I mean, the consequences of an election are not about the reputation of the Supreme Court, are they? Nor does the reputation of the Supreme Court give a damn if the Republic is going down. So I don't know what Boasberg did today. He held up. He wants to find out if they defied his court order. I don't know what that means, to defy his court order. As far as I can tell by the chronology, and now I could be wrong because there's been so many confusing, I'm not in court. I hear both sides. I'm not the trier of fact or the determinant of fact. I think this is right, but I'll try to get it a little more tightened up. I think the order officially got to them when he was beyond your jurisdiction. Now, the question, I think, if I'm wrong, I don't know. You guys have been trying to hold me in contempt for a long time. Hold me in contempt or something. I don't have a right of free speech. But I'm not in the District of Columbia now. I'm in Florida, and I think Governor DeSantis would fight a extradition to a sort of non-American type jurisdiction where we apply the rules. I don't know who wrote the rules. Was it that chief judge you had who was like completely bloodthirsty to put January 6 people in jail? Now, I was in trial before her. She didn't seem to have gone to an American law school. It's tragic what you're doing. It's tragic. You're playing with lives. In fact, you've been playing with lives for quite some time. Do you ever think with all the cheating you did in 2020, how many lives you cost us? How many lives you cost us in Ukraine? What about the kids in Afghanistan, huh? What about the guy in Afghanistan that Trump just got out? And the crookedest president in American history couldn't. Did he get anybody out? The hostages in Israel, he never even mentioned them. The 13 who died didn't even seem like he wanted to go to the ceremony. Gee, I wonder when I can get back to my ice cream or the money I'm getting from Ukraine. One of the reasons you get away with this is, even with the conservative press, people of America don't know how bad you really are. I do. That's why you hate me, and that's why you want to destroy me. And I'm not going to my grave knowing it. Everybody's going to know it. Because they're not going to, you've tried everything to shut me up, just like you have him. It hasn't worked. Judge rebukes Justice Department, raises due process questions for non-citizens. You know, they have what is known as limited due process. All of the presumptions should be in favor of the decisions made by the executive branch, because this is an area of our government that has been largely confined to the executive branch. It involves two intersecting, like circles that intersect, two intersecting powers that are traditionally very, very strongly executive branch powers. Conduct of our foreign policy, protection of our border. Congress, yes, has rights to declare war. Congress has the right to approve or disapprove treaties, and Congress has the right to write laws to help carry out the mission of protecting our border. And the president, of course, must follow those laws unless the president disagrees with them and believes they're unconstitutional, in which case he has to challenge them, as he is doing. That's our government. That's the way it works. You don't get to make all the decisions because you have those robes on. I mean, the reality is that in this particular case, the judicial branch of government, I would think Judge Roberts would be the first to tell you, has the least power. You have no role in this, other than if the president acted not just incorrectly, but really recklessly. And you're telling me that rounding up a bunch of Trendaragua people and MS-13 people who have histories of crime here and in their mother country and are here illegally is something illegal? Or, well, let's hope that this gets before. Well, I don't know how much you count on the D.C. Circuit. I figured when I still had my case and before it was settled, I wasn't figuring it was even 50-50. I watched what they did with the January 6 people, and they fit a little closer to my definition of marginally an American judge. The D.C. Circuit better get one quick. But we'll take a short break. And when we come back, we'll take a look at what's happening to the Department of Education, and maybe we'll listen to the president in his own words on this subject. Now, it might be also a good idea. No one expresses it as better than the president himself, because he happens to be 100% right, and he's trying to save you. He's trying to save you. Here, he literally is trying to save you against a group of vicious, violent criminals being set free. Now, I come from New York. I'm used to judges letting vicious, violent criminals get set free. They did it in the 70s and the 80s, and my predecessor, Ed Koch, used to go nuts. They did it in the 90s, and I went so crazy I stopped it. And they're doing it now. And they're running a guy for mayor, Andrew Cuomo, who has passed a law to change parole, and we have 42 cop killers running around that got out because of his new law. So I'm used to what Democrats do, but this is beyond the pale. We'll be back in a moment.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to MyPillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because they like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans. No Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's Coffee.
I hear every day about the products you all wish MyPillow carried. Well, guess what? We probably do. Slippers, bathrobes, pet beds, blankets, mattresses, sleepwear, loungewear, duvets, comforters, pot holders, aprons, oven mitts, and so much more. And they're all on sale. For example, get our best-selling standard MyPillows for only $14.98. Body pillows, $29.98. 6-piece bath towels or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase, $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color, and so much more. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And I've never done this before. When you spend $100 or more, you're going to get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
You know, just in case you'd like to know who's a lawyer and who isn't, Boasberg isn't I am. Here is a quote from the Supreme Court. That's the court that Roberts is on and trying to protect by using it as an instrument of censorship. In 1999, the Supreme Court in Reno versus American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee ruled that, here's a quote, when an alien's continuing presence in this country is in violation of the immigration laws, and there's no question these people are in violation of the immigration laws, the government does not offend the Constitution by deporting him for the additional reason that it believes him to be, that he believes him. Doesn't have to prove it. Believes him. Remember, they don't have the same rights as a citizen. Believes him to be a member of an organization that supports terrorist activities. The people that are being deported, the president and the administration sincerely believe are members of Tren de Aragua who have committed numerous murders, rapes, and other kinds of crimes in the United States. And MS-13, who for an even longer time has done the same. That's the only question that the judge should be asking. And the question really is it within his jurisdiction? Because these people were outside his jurisdiction when he issued all of these orders. What is he, the judge for the United States? I thought it was the little teeny District of Columbia he was the judge for. And Judge, why are you stretching the law to protect murderers, rapists? You want people to disrespect the law even more? So the guy involved in it, you've seen plenty of times. What you can see the Post headline here when he was arrested, and then the Columbia students protesting for him. Now, what he was, that's the guy right there. That's Mahmoud Khalil. He's a Syrian. He is a multiple lawbreaker. He's in the country illegally several times, several different ways. And he has been conducting illegal protest after illegal protest. By illegal, I mean things burn down, property gets destroyed. Much worse than any of the January 6 people that the bloodthirsty judges in the District of Columbia put in prison, including holding without bail and causing suicides. That's the guy that this fight sort of is over. A guy like that. Can the president throw him out? Or can he throw him out? There are so many protests against his country. He can throw him out just for being a vocal supporter of Hamas. He said, I have a First Amendment right. No, you don't, pal. You don't. No. Your First Amendment rights are different because you're not a citizen of this country. Your rights come under a number of cases, including the Reno case, which says that you can't offend the Constitution of the United States, and you can't raise questions as to whether or not you're a danger to the national security of the United States. You don't have to be a danger, but if we have questions about it, we can throw you the hell out of here. I mean, you're such a bad case for them to raise that only the most sinister of left-wing judges would bother to support you. And supporting you is one thing, but supporting all the MS-13 and Tren de Aragua people reminds me of the mayor of Denver who said he was going to stand at the gates of the city of Denver to stop Tom Homan from coming in. Tom has pulled about 1,000 out of there, and the mayor is, I think he's in the, well, they don't know if he went into the men's room or the ladies' room, but there you can go into either one depending on, depending. And of course, that's in the state with that very, very great governor who has, between the boy mayor and Governor Feliz Navidad, the state of Colorado and the city of Denver has more per capita illegals than New York, and it is getting the hell kicked out of it. It's also being sued by 15 counties, the governor is and the mayor is, for destroying their state. I mean, it's not enough. You can't walk around that state without failing a test for marijuana because your hair, you're lucky I don't have any hair, but your hair, retains it for about a month. So you spend a little time in Colorado, you got a job as a cop, you come back and you fail the marijuana test. Also, Oregon did something about it, but Colorado is like bumper cars. I mean, these guys are smoking away on marijuana that's 10 times whatever you used as a kid, and they're banging the shit out of each other and killing each other. Great change. That's really great. Make us even more wacky. See if you can do more to destroy our brain cells. Yeah, you're going to save us from climate change, but none of us are going to have any brain cells left with all the marijuana going around. Goodbye, Department of Education. Wow. What a useless thing that was. That was a deal between a communist organized union, the teachers' unions, the group of them, and Jimmy Carter, because Jimmy Carter was, Jimmy Carter maybe wasn't as honest as he claimed. This was a pure, straight out bribe. You do a Department of Education, and we'll support you, Jimmy, over who the heck was trying to run then? Ted Kennedy? I don't remember. I think that was too close to the time that Ted Kennedy killed a girl for him to run. He tried to run 4 years later and was defeated by Jimmy Carter, but he helped to defeat Jimmy Carter. And I've forgotten who tested out Carter then, or why he'd be so worried. Oh, because he came out of nowhere. Nobody knew who he was before he ran. And then after he left, nobody knew who he was. And then he did all those houses with left-wing groups that made fortunes on them. And then he came out against the state of Israel vehemently. Oh, but he's a big hero. Yeah, he did a great job with the Shah. Gave us Iran. Did nothing about our hostages. Oh yeah, that's right. He bounced a helicopter in the desert, I think. That kind of like gave Clinton the idea that when we get attacked, we should hit empty fields, so that Bin Laden feels like, well, they're just a paper tiger. Clinton's got better things to do than to bomb me. We all know how tied up he is in the Oval Office. So today, the president, I think was it today that he signed it? Let's show the signing.
That was yesterday.
It was yesterday. Let's show the signing because it's quite beautiful with all the children. It's also nice to see a bunch of children around the president not looking scared.
That's cut for.
Look how nice these kids look. I mean, they look so. Look at that little girl. She looks so pleasant. She looks so pleasant. That little girl. She doesn't look afraid of him. Or you remember the little girls around Biden? The faces they would make.
Okay.
But all the children got to sign. Isn't that cute? Oh, look, they're all holding it up. Now, come on. Grandpa. You know, Ted and I get the pleasure occasionally of seeing him as a grandfather usually at the golf course more than Mar-a-Lago, because, as you know, his oldest granddaughter is quite a golfer like he is. It's kind of skipped a generation. Donald and Eric, I mean, Donald, as you know, is a hell of a hunter. And Eric, too. I think that I'm sure they both play golf. I think I've seen them play golf, but it's not like Dad, who is devoted to it. And it looks like Kai is very devoted to it. Right. And I'm told by my son, who's seen her play, I haven't seen her play, that she's excellent.
I think she's on the Miami golf team. I'll double check that.
Is that right?
I'll check that.
My son is coming down here tomorrow.
Well, Tiger Woods is now, I believe, dating her mother.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? And the president seems okay with it.
Hey, I mean,
the president figured he'd get a few lessons.
Golf to get some lessons. Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't be 9 times out of 10 when he talks about my son Andrew, he says, "You know, that kid won the Eisenhower." You don't know how hard it is to win that. Andrew's a hell of a player. Then he goes on with everything else, but he does love golf, and I think it's a very good thing for him because it gives him a little bit away. Although, gosh almighty, I mean, he does all the wrong things in the sense that he works. I mean, he can be on the golf course and talking to, Georgia Maloney, or talking to one of his aides, or talking to the Secretary of State. And then as soon as he's finished with golf, mostly now he has his people around. They go off into a private secure room, and I keep looking at the television to see if we're getting bombed or bombing somebody or being attacked or whatever. But you see him with the kids, both his own children, and he will not turn a kid down. And sometimes you got to look at what he goes through. Okay, he's the president, and he's a really mature guy. But boy, they drive him nuts. I mean, they don't let him eat. They don't let him, but he loves it. And he loves kids, and you can see it. And you saw just the opposite with Biden. If you didn't see stress, you don't have any sensitivity. So I'm going to tell you why I know that doing away with the education department is good for children. I'm not a great a scholar of education. I was responsible and did run the largest school system in the country that was ruined by the very charming woman who very often fools you with her great charm. She really is a dedicated communist who has no concern for the children. She is the person most responsible for the kids spending an extra year in school, in public schools controlled by her communist unions, whereas the kids in parochial, private, and other public schools, charter schools unassociated with these communists, didn't. And those children, the children who lost that extra year, are primarily the ones that have fallen behind the most. I can tell you from the time I was mayor until now in New York City, the cost per child has doubled. The budget has become more than 1/3 of the budget of New York City. And we went from one of the top cities, even with all the damage done in the 70s and the 80s, and then the work that we did to reconstruct it, we were doing pretty damn well. Since then, it's gone straight down. I mean, like really down, places I never thought it would be in the 20s and 30s. I mean, we spend more money on children than any place in the world, and we have some of the worst results, all due to the very charming woman. And this is why she gets away with it, because as you'll see now, when you see Randy Weingarten, she's extraordinarily charming, and people are fooled by her. Let's listen to her.
And when they cut half the people, it's like evisceration by 1,000 cuts. Yeah. So you want to do this? Have the fight with us in Congress. Let's make sure we get the issues out there. I'm so mad. I'm spitting mad about this because it's hurting the people who can't vote. Children don't vote. Let's not take away their opportunity.
The last person in the country who cares about children is that witch right there. That's the last person who cares about children. There's nobody in the United States that did more damage to children based on the pandemic than Randy Weingarten and her teachers. Randy Weingarten and I negotiated for 6 years, and I found her to be completely insensitive to the problems of minorities and children, completely even insensitive to the problems of good teachers. You're crazy to be part of her union if you're a good teacher. Yeah, I can't tell you how often I offered her large raises for very good teachers. I said, boy, you got some teachers that are fabulous. I'll pay them anything to keep them. And you got some teachers that are very good. I'll pay them more to keep them. Then you got teachers that are average, and I'll pay them average. Then you got some teachers I'd like to see them either go into remedial or kind of over a period of time get lost, and I'll pay them less or no raise. And then there are some I'd like to kick right the hell out, about 10, 20% of them. Oh, we can't do that. All teachers have to be treated the same. They're all the same. And there's no way to measure the performance of a teacher.
Take a break. In a move that should outrage every parent in America, teachers union boss Randy Weingarten is threatening legal action to stop President Trump's executive order dismantling the Department of Education, instead of supporting a plan that puts more money and control in the hands of parents and states. Weingarten and her union are fighting to keep the corrupt, failing D.C. bureaucracy intact, prioritizing their own union's power over the success of America's children. For decades, the Department of Education has spent over $3 trillion while test scores have plummeted, including in Democrat-run cities where students are trapped in failing schools. Nearly 3/4 of 8th graders can't do basic math, and 7 in 10 struggle to read. But instead of fixing this disaster, Weingarten and the union, the American Federation of Teachers, is focused on keeping their political machine running, blocking reforms, protecting bad teachers at the expense of students, and demanding more taxpayer money with nothing to show for it except bad results. To be clear, statistics show that the Board of Education has failed at its mission of educating students properly. And if we are 100% honest with ourselves, the teachers must take some of that responsibility. But it seems like teachers' unions will fight to keep kids failing as long as they have job security, regardless of the teachers' results. The American Federation of Teachers has even taken the position in the past that the teachers' union will fight for children once they start paying union dues. And this is the conflicted organization that is now suing the Trump administration. I asked Secretary of Education Linda McMahon her thoughts on Weingarten's lawsuit threat. Do you have a comment on the lawsuit being filed by Randy Weingarten?
Well, I've not had any conversation yet with Randy Weingarten. I know about last week, about a week ago, her comment was the president wanted to take education away from children, which clearly is not the case. He wants to improve education for children. He wants to get those dollars, even more dollars, back to the states without the bureaucracy of Washington. So that's our plan. That's our goal. I'd be glad to meet with her and talk to her about that.
The real question is, how much longer will parents allow teachers' unions that protect teachers' big salaries and job security, even when there are failed results, to hold their children's future hostage? Why should failing teachers be protected by a union at the expense of your child's education? And if a teacher isn't doing their job, shouldn't they be fired just like in any other profession? Instead, the unions are fighting tooth and nail to shield bad teachers from accountability, while American students are falling further behind. President Trump's executive order is a wake-up call. The Department of Education has failed, and now the very people partially responsible for its failure are fighting to keep control. Will parents and lawmakers finally take a stand against teachers' unions that have no interest in student outcomes? Or will Weingarten and her allies succeed in putting their power above our children's futures? Reporting from the White House for Lindell TV, I'm Cara Castronova.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to MyPillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep grain, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans. No Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these. My goodness. You're going to want to specially order these. This is what goes into Rudy's coffee. Rudy Giuliani back with you again with the Rudy Giuliani Show on Lindell TV. And it is it's a pleasure to be back with you. And let's see if we can celebrate. Let's celebrate the return of a hostage. Now, we didn't get to celebrate much of this when Biden was in office, right? This didn't happen very, very much. But now we're getting hostages back, aren't we? And the reality is that if we take a look here, we'll see. We'll see the hostage, and maybe
words, but anyways, I'm in debt with the President Trump. Amazing, you know. Thank God he's in the White House where he's at, and thank God he got me out. Marco Rubio.
Yeah, well, I didn't say thank God for anybody else, but Donald Trump and Marco Rubio. That's George Glesman, an American held hostage by the Taliban. The Taliban is the country that got to take over Afghanistan when Biden made a cowardly, insane, traitorous exit, leaving behind $85 billion worth of arms, making the Taliban one of the greatest and largest merchants of arms in the world. Arms that they have used to kill us, to kill Israelis. I'm sure Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis have any number of arms that come from the Taliban. So thank you, Joe, for your contribution to that additional contribution to the death of Americans. And once again, thank God you're gone, because this man wouldn't be home if you were gone, and we wouldn't be talking about peace any place. We'd be talking about continued war, so that the deep state criminals around you could be whacking up military money. I mean, the greatest time for crooked people, you know what war profiteers are, right? Is wartime. You wonder why they like to keep wars going? You think it's ideological? What's the ideology going on between Ukraine and Russia? Are they Russian or Ukrainian? What's the ideology? Now, both countries are crooked as hell. The Ukrainian people are nicer people, maybe. I don't know. Are they? Are the Ukrainians nicer than the Russians? I know the Ukrainians better, so I like them better, but they both have governments that suck. I mean, one is a murderous dictatorship, and the other is completely corrupt, which leads not to as many murders, but certainly leads to some. They're run by an oligarchy that's an organized crime group, and we, of course, ignore it. We ignore it because it fits the left narrative, and the other doesn't. So that's the way we do it. So that was very nice of Mr. Glesman to thank President Trump and Secretary Rubio. But, they are day in and day out going on the offensive, trying to get Americans back. Biden spent day in and day out ignoring the Americans, not only that were hostage, but the ones that he made hostage, that he allowed to die, or the many Ukrainians that died, or the many Americans who died of fentanyl. And his party supported it because power was considerably more important than human life. Well, Israel is not waiting, and nor should they. An Israeli hostage who came back. This got no attention in the crooked left-wing media, but a hostage, Eli Sharabi, who spoke before the UN Security Council with no one reporting it. And maybe he did because some of the things that he said before the UN Security Council was, Hamas eats like kings while hostages starve. That's a war crime. Nobody trying to arrest them. They're trying to arrest Bibi Netanyahu for defending his country. Yeah, and some of our allies are involved in it. They haven't quit the stupid International Court of Justice or World Court or whatever the hell it is. I've been against the World Court, the International Court of Justice, and the International Court of Bullshit from the day I was in law school. Probably from the day I took constitutional history in college. I'm going to let these people judge my Americans? There's nobody in the world that holds the values that we hold. And we don't, not all of us hold those values anymore. I'm going to let a country like France that caved into the Nazis to make decisions about me, or a country like Great Britain that now puts people in jail for what they think, make decisions about my citizens. And those are the best ones. It's like the UN, you know, the Council on Human Rights in the UN, run by Cuba, or run by or run by China. These people were kept 164 feet underground. Mr. Sharabi, his entire body was wrapped in chains, so tight that they ripped his skin, and he bled constantly. And he was, as a matter of course, to be subjected and kept in control, they were beaten. And any number of the people doing it worked for the UN. They worked for the UNRWA. They had UN insignia. The UNRWA is a terrorist organization. I don't know if the president has gotten us out of it. I think he may have designated a terrorist organization. I'm not sure. You sure as hell could meet that standard, Secretary, that the UNRWA is a terrorist group. A lot of them fought in the attack on men, women, and children, innocent men, women, and children in Israel. And a lot of them were involved in torture. And they stole almost every bit that we sent them for Hamas. If it was money, all of it. And if it was food, most of it. All that stuff about humanitarian relief, it was feed the hostages. No, I mean, feed the terrorists and starve the hostages. Well, in Ukraine, we've got a switch that has now taken place. And it really is caused by the switch in positions from Zelensky to Putin. So when it started off, it seemed like Zelensky didn't take advantage of an opportunity to do a quick ceasefire. Now, that's possible that Putin was ready back then for a bit more, because he wasn't sure he could get Kursk back. I thought he had made his last stab about a month ago. Remember, Kursk was taken originally by Zelensky about a year ago. It was a bold move, controversial move among his own army, who felt that it cost him a little more territory in Ukraine. In my view, it was probably the smartest thing that he did. He went and he grabbed some territory in bitter fighting with the Russians, unexpected attack on Kursk, took territory about, I don't know, is it about 70, 80 miles into Russia from the border? And he held it at least twice, maybe three times, against counterassaults by the Russians. Two of them with the help of North Korean soldiers, which may actually have been a benefit to the Ukrainians, because the North Korean soldiers were shooting themselves, shooting the Russians, and completely screwing up the whole operation. Unfortunately, with a little bit more time they gave Putin, he took one more try. And I think had he failed in that try, he would have gone right back. But each day he kept progressing to the extent that he says he has all of it. The Ukrainians say he doesn't. We'll have to see. But it looks like Zelensky will go in with one less bargaining chip. And he's got no bargaining chips but Trump. So we're going to have to see how Trump pulls this one out of the bag. He started today by increasing the military aid to Ukraine substantially and by offering to go partners on the nuclear facilities with Ukraine. Now you figure out what that means. And if you're Putin, you ain't going to like that very much. So you go over now to X and we'll continue our discussion. We have a few more things on Ukraine and then on everything else that's going on tonight and into the weekend. And we'll be back next week at 7 on Wendell TV at X, and then at 8 o'clock, like we are right now, go right over to X, and we will be continuing in 2 minutes. God bless America.